all the usual suspects here. But what really happened is they built their business on referrals, right? They built their business on friends of friends, and their business has outgrown their network. So, they started here, and their network was here, and it got them to here, and it took 8 to 3 months. But now their network has no more juice. There's nothing else in it that's going to keep them growing. So you got to build the network, right? And now in the old days, you used to do that a handshake at a time, right? One job at a time. You do really good for one client, and they maybe refer you to another client. But what we're talking about here today is networking at scale, where it's each week you do this, right? So your business can grow. Your business has plenty of room to grow. So this is what we're talking about here is networking at scale to get the hell off that referral plateau, and build something that has a little more consistency, right? Because as we talked about across this presentation, let the data be your guide. The data is going to tell the story of what works and what doesn't. And as you do it more, the data is going to get more refined, and your efforts are going to become higher leverage and more potent. So, do this consistently, and you'll quickly, you'll realize, oh, okay, cool. I'm getting a 13% conversion rate or acceptance rate on comments, but if I tweak these three things, if I changed my profile picture to have a big neon orange background. Suddenly now I'm getting a 16% conversion. What the hell? Like it's just based like purely because I stand out my profile picture, more people are accepting me. Okay, well now I changed the headline under my thing and it went back down to 13. Okay, I'll change the headline back to this, back up to 16. Now I'm going to change the headline to this and I'm up to 22%, right? So it's like things like that are your new day job basically is how do I refine the approach to maximize conversion rate and maximize the conversations that I'm having, so that I can continue to network at scale. Does that make sense? Okay, how do I get rid of? Okay, so Lewis or Luis says, how do you identify a burst pipe problem if you have a service that's seen as a commodity, design, video, etc.? Great question, because I'm video, or I was until February. We just closed our video agency. But it's going to change with the times. You've got to keep your finger on the pulse of your industry, but it's really niche specific. Because a burst pipe problem for the CPG industry is a non-issue for the fashion industry. A burst pipe problem for the fashion industry doesn't even move the needle for the real estate industry. So start there. Recruit ChatGPT to and ask it, hey, what are the urgent, costly problems that this industry solves for every day? What are the throw money at the problem situations that people in the fashion industry, or get even more specific that, fashion industry publicists solve, right? One time we did this in the freelancing program where we did a whole offer building workshop, and I picked like the most obscure, niche industry I could think of. So I was like, okay, direct to consumer makeup companies that sell on TikTok shop only. It's like what are their 30 biggest, like most costly urgent problems? And like one of the problems was that it's a lack of second purchases because the first purchase experience was lackluster because people saw their favorite influencer unbox the makeup and the influencer got the sexy influencer box unboxing experience, right? Because the brand sends it to them. And when they ordered it, they just got lip gloss and bubble wrap in an Amazon box, and so they felt like they didn't have the same experience that their favorite influencer did. And so they never bought again. There was no loyalty, in that initial engagement with the brand. And so, okay, if you're a designer, say you're a designer. So how do you solve that specific problem? Well, you're now the person, you're the second purchase person, right? You're the designer that does nothing but optimize for a second purchase from, for direct to consumer makeup brands that sell on TikTok Shop. So, if they don't have the budget for packaging, you're going to design flyers that feel luxurious and that feel like VIP and you're going to split test them. You're going to send, this region gets this, everybody from this influencer gets this flyer, everybody from this influencer gets this flyer. And how many of them bought a second time because they were all pixeled? So it's like you can be like, yes, you're a designer, but you're solving a burst pipe problem for this company, which is we're getting plenty of people buying once and there's no retention. The lifetime value of our customer is zilch, right? We got to solve this problem now, or every time we need to make money, we need to sell a shitload of product versus just like relying on our, our the relationship, our brand relationship with the customers. So that's, I mean, that's what I say is I would recruit ChatGPT to identify, what those problems are. You could also do this primary, right? You can spend 1 week of your first messaging, right? Could be dedicated to solving this, where you literally say, "I'm not trying to, sell you anything here. I'm literally like human to human. I was wondering if I could get your help real quick. Here's the offer that I'm trying to develop. Is that something that you think people in your position would benefit from, right? And just be like, just talk to them like, I swear to you, I'm not selling you on this. I just need a thumbs up or a thumbs down from you if I'm barking up the right tree here, right? And send that message out 20 times and see what, person to person, what people say. Because likely people are going to give you some really thoughtful suggestions there. If you reach out to 20 founders with an offer that you thought was really good, and three of them got back to you and said, I see what you're trying to do here, but really, if you did this, you'd be onto something, because business owners want to help business owners. That's you'll grow just as fast there as well. Okay. This is from, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm sorry. Fowles or Fawaz. How do you go if you don't have social proof yet? How do we get that first client without the social proof? Right. So A, uh, you need proof of what you do. You need experience proof. You don't need a first client to get that, right? So spend this week, next week, creating all sorts of projects, right? Demonstrating what it is you do and building that expertise for you yourself to become an expert, right? So it's like a couple ways you could do this would be because you want to attack your problem from all angles. So go to like Upwork. Feel free to go to Upwork and look at jobs that you would be great for. Don't apply to them. Just make it for you. Make up the brand and do that thing and add it to your portfolio, right? Or again, this is becoming a common theme today, is you could deploy ChatGPT to this and just say, hey, here's the problem I solve. Here's the type of customer I'm trying to attract. I need to build a portfolio this week. Can you give me 8 different angles on this problem? Act as 8 clients and that cover 8 different versions of this problem and prompt me to create a project, right? And start building up your experience proof. Excuse me. And then when it comes to your profile and your content, and your comments and all that, again, like your expertise is your proof, right? The fact that the specificity is your proof. The fact that you know that this problem needs to be solved is the justification for listening to you, right? If it's so specific, they're like, oh man, this person must be an expert, because only an expert would even know that makeup companies have an issue with return purchases. Direct to consumer makeup companies have this issue, and this person's talking about it every day on LinkedIn. That in and of itself will do it, right? So hopefully that helps answer that question. I'm just trying to get. I know there's a shitload of. If I hit okay, if I do this, answer live, done. Done. And then if I hit this, okay, cool. How do you nurture these relationships? This is from Ricardo. So you've sent out 800 connection requests this month. 200 people accepted. You sent out 200 first messages. Now what do you do? Right? That could be a whole other webinar. I've gotten you to start the conversations. Now, how do you keep the conversations going? Right? You know how to do this. You're a human being that's been alive long enough to know how to have a conversation with another human being. Right? Remember that you get the trophy if you make a buddy, not if you make a sale, right? So how do you nurture these relationships? By treating these people as if they were friends of yours, right? Like friends that you care about, fellow business owners that are trying to make their way in the world just like you, right? And so you've opened that conversation with, hey, not a pitch on the other side of this, trying to meet more people in the industry. What are we up against? What's something you're excited about for the next 12 weeks? Something of that ilk. And that person replies and says, great to meet you, Ricardo. Thanks for reaching out. To be honest, things are great. We're doing a great job and we're pretty pleased with everything. And you go, great. What's any big goals for next year? Well, we're going to try and take advantage of this, and that. Oh, that's awesome. What are you doing for this? I have a client that's doing that. Whatever you tell me, I might be able to use over here. Just start palling around with them. Oh, well, we're going to do this and that. I'll appreciate that. I'm going to put that one to work. Thanks for that. Oh, hey, did you check out this article that just got posted about this thing that you mentioned? You said you're going to this thing in Dallas, and here's this. Are you going to be at this event? Oh, no, we're not, but that's something that we should probably check out. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, how was Dallas? Like it's just you just keep going. It's you just having a conversation, right? And at any, whenever you have a shot, take it. Where it's like any chance that you see an opportunity to to demonstrate your expertise, take it, right? Or if they mention a problem, help them, right? And again, it's not a pitch, but if 3 months from now this guy says, "Yeah, we're this," you say, "How'd the campaign go?" "Oh, it didn't go great. We effed up and we did not get the result that we were thinking." Well, interesting. I just finished a campaign like that, and it actually did pretty well because we did this little thing after. Do you want to chat about it? I bet you could probably still salvage this. Do you have 15 minutes? Yeah, let's chat about it. Now you're on the phone with them, right? And you're solving a problem side by side. And hey, you're more than capable of doing this, but I also have a team that does this every day. I'd be happy to take care of this for you, right? And then we'll do it, and then we'll build out the next one the right way for you so that you don't run into this problem again. Suddenly, and now you've got a client, right? So that's the way it works. It's you make a buddy, and then when the window opens where they've got a problem that you can solve, you take the shot. And it's really as simple as that. It's as simple as like genuinely wanting to help people. All right, let's see. This one is from Dimitri. How to apply all of this to custom software development where the scope is much bigger, requirements, engineer, hosting, development, and the prices of projects can quickly go high. I mean, it's the same. It's like there is no, you know, if anything, the higher the budget, the more this is going to help. Because the higher ticket the job, um, or the more exclusive the industry, the more important network is, right? Because that's where these decisions get made. Somebody's not finding a $75,000 freelancer on Upwork, right? They're just not going to do it. They're going to go ask their friends, they're going to ask their fellow founders, their team members who they know that they've worked with before, that can solve these problems. So so it all happens at the network stage. The higher ticket you go and the more complex the projects get. So it's just really about targeting who are those people, who are those decision makers, and making your sales navigator really like spot on for that, right? Really, really finely targeted, and then nurturing just like what we just talked about with them, right? Yeah, it's and the social media presence, the LinkedIn presence is the new business card, right? So as you grow, people are going to come check you out and you're going to have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn and you're going to be posting, a couple times a week and they're going to see your face everywhere in all these other comment sections. And you will quickly become, the expert at solving this thing. So it's like, why would they go to anybody else than the person that everybody else is getting their advice from on LinkedIn, right? Even if you're not, the king of software development in this particular, niche, you're the only one talking about it. You're the one that's planted their flag in this particular problem that software development solves. All right. All right, from Gabriella. Do you think we need to also post content to build trust on top of this networking at scale, or will it work on its own? I filled this water up really. That almost spilled everywhere just then. Um, do you think we need to also post content to build trust on top of networking at scale, or will it work on its own? It will absolutely work on its own. You know, I would post once a week, maybe just to let people know you're alive. But content is bottom of the list on LinkedIn. That being said, if you do post content a handful of times a week, or even daily, you will, your authority, you strengthen your authority. So, it's if somebody sees you in every comment section that they're a part of, and they read your headline and they understand what it is you do, and you're having a conversation with them in DMs, and you're demonstrating your expertise there, that's going to be enough, right? But if you add content to that, there's a new layer of discovery because remember, when people comment on your posts, their whole network sees your post. So there's a new layer of discovery there, so you'll reach more people. But also there's an authority layer there where it's, inevitably if four freelancers are standing next to each other and they all have equal skill set and they all do the same thing and they're all priced identically, and one of them gets called up on a stage to give a speech and everybody starts applauding for that one person because they love them, which one's going to look like the authority, right? It's going to be the person that everybody else is paying attention to. So that's the added benefit of content is it's discovery and authority, but you can absolutely get away with not doing it. Also, I should have mentioned this in the presentation, but so sorry to the people that are that left early. Maybe they're watching the replay. On LinkedIn, as much as they say, and this is the benefit of having primary experience, like because people will give you advice. I love that I'm at the stage of my career where I can watch somebody giving advice and know that it is 100% incorrect. So as much as people say short form video on LinkedIn is where it's at, to the point where um, like the head of marketing of LinkedIn made a whole presentation about this, and she posted a short form video and was like, "This is where it's at. This is what LinkedIn is now." But myself and many a person with far greater reach than I on LinkedIn, we all get together and agree that the written word is still king on LinkedIn. They just still haven't figured out short form video, like in terms of targeting, like reach algorithmically. What'll happen is they'll send your video out to everybody because there's a shortage of short form video content. But that means that like my freelancer content is going out to like, Bob's hunting emporium type audience and uh so and so, so and so's 9 to 5 resume building audience. So it's like all these people that don't give a shit about freelancing are seeing my video, so I'm getting a really high impression count, but my comments, I'm getting like 2 comments, right? So it's like I have a video I right now on LinkedIn that did 800,000 impressions and that has 6 comments, right? And then I have and then a video, or a text post will do 12,000 impressions, but have 50 comments, right? So which post do you think is doing better for my business, right? So written content with an image, especially, is where it's at on LinkedIn, because it just takes up the real estate. If you look at your phone, it's just text or text and an image. You want to own as much of that screen as possible, right? So that was a very long-winded answer to that question. Let's hit refresh. Okay. From Felipe. From your experience, how does this methodology work for people outside the US, not only to find opportunities in the US, but also in their own country? Most of the people that I've done this with are outside of the US. So there is no dilution of efficacy if you're not US based. I mean, there are just as many people in Germany that are on LinkedIn to do business, so all that changes is in that geography piece on Sales Navigator. You want to, you want to put wherever it is that you're trying to reach out to. So it'll narrow that, right? Instead of like 2.4 million, what the hell is the word? Like accounts, on your list return, you'll maybe get like 1,000, but hey, that's okay because you only have to send 200 connection requests and it'll refresh next week. More people will be active. But yeah, it absolutely works for people outside the US. How are you doing in the chat? Any questions I need to answer? Anything about the freelancing program?
No, people are just upset the site crashed for a
The site crashed for a minute. Are we back live?
minute.
We're back live. All right, guys. So the site is working. So make sure to go, and I'm going to try and answer as many of these questions to buy you as much time as possible. Maybe ask any questions. Okay, ask any questions about the freelancing program as well. If this is something that you want to be a part of, but you're on the fence and you just have a question about that, I want to make sure that you get those answered as well, so you don't miss the opportunity to get the 20-minute session. And while I'm on that, I see this question from Ryan. How do we claim the one-on-one with Jamie? So join using this promo code, and then what happens? And then everybody that joins using this promo code, because there was no way to automate this, everyone that joins using this promo code, Courtney is going to email or send in the community. Courtney is going to DM in the freelancing program a link to claim to get on my calendar for the one-on-one. Cool. Does that make sense? All right. What was your question, Courtney? You said there was a question. How to define your niche better. I mean, just layers and layers of specificity, guys. You know, first realize that what you do isn't your niche, that's your craft or your service. Who you do it for is your niche, right? So graphic designer uh for brands is a really shitty niche. That's way too general. Let's go one layer of specificity. Graphic designer for makeup brands. A little better, still not great. Let's keep going. Graphic designer for makeup brands that sell D2C, direct to customer, right? They don't sell CPG. They don't sell in convenience or grocery. We're getting there. Let's get even more specific. Graphic designer for makeup brands that sell D2C uh, on TikTok Shop, right? Now that's something you can work with. Now you can say, okay, I optimize, for this experience. What are the problems that these people are solving for? Because it's like what we talked about earlier. Your specificity is your spear that cuts through the noise. Because now if you're the owner of a direct customer makeup brand that sells exclusively on TikTok Shop, imagine what that person's experience on LinkedIn is, right? Likely they see a lot of content about TikTok and they see a lot of content about the makeup industry, but it's all probably pretty general and broad. Now imagine they're on their feed and they stop their scroll because they saw a post that's talking directly to them about a problem that they just walked out of a meeting discussing, right? That's the phenomenon that you want to manufacture with your niche.